Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm Catherine.
And I'm Haley.
And we are Saturdays Are for the Ghouls, a podcast on the Podmoth Network. We cover all things spooky, like horror movies, true crime, the supernatural, and spooky stories,
In the most chaotic way possible.
So join your favorite ghoul friends every Saturday wherever you listen to podcasts.
And become a spooky babe.
So spooky babes, we'll see you
In your nightmares.
This podcast contains strong language and adult situations and may not be suitable for those who are easily offended. Welcome to the Fuck My Work Life podcast, where the work stories are real, the laughs are contagious, and most of us can agree that work sucks. So let's clock out and tune in. All right, everybody, we are going to play part 2 of our recording with Mama D. And before we get into her last story that she told us, we're going to go ahead and replay a story that she sent in to us, which references the girl that she spoke about in last week's episode. So we'll listen to that, and then we will get on with the second part of our recording with Mama D. All right, our next story comes to us from Mama D.
Mama D.
Of the Petals of Support podcast. If you guys need just some good old life mom advice, check out her podcast. It's really great. She always has really amazing insights, and I love listening to her. Okay. Before I was Mama D, I worked as a social worker for a special treatment foster care nonprofit organization.
Damn.
I worked well with the teenagers, so my caseload tended to be that age group. Each kid had individual needs and abilities, of course, so I adjusted plans based on that. Still, I had goals I really wanted each to meet before they turned 18, and most likely be kicked out of the system by their county agency.
Poor thing.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah.
It is so, like, the whole foster care system is fucked up.
Well, even, like, I feel for the kids that are in the foster care system, but also the people have to work with them.
Well, they load them up with caseloads, and they can't, like,
and they can't keep up.
Yeah.
And you can't actually, like, try to mentor these kids to be something that they could be, you know? I would totally be a big brother.
You should do it.
I don't know how to.
Google it.
Oh, yeah. Is that thing on
oh, yeah.
Go on the Googles?
Yeah, you go on the Googles. You Google that shit. Bleep, bloop, bloop, bleep, bloop. Kicked out of the system by their county agency. We had no control over that. One of my goals was to prepare the kids for real adult life. Quote unquote, real adult life. I liked the kids to work at jobs they could handle. I placed them in restaurants often because I got free food when I came to check on them. That's smart. That isn't important, though. Another skill, since most did not have a license, was to tackle public transportation. Enter one young lady that was not high functioning. Sweet girl, but very low IQ.
Oh.
I knew she would end up in a group home setting, but I really wanted her to feel like she had choices and power. I'm going to cry. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
So I convinced a coworker to join me on an adventure using our city's bus line. She would get on the bus at stop A. She would ride until stop C. Get off the bus. We would follow in a car to make sure it was all good. She gets on the bus like a pro, rides like a champ. Stop C. Doesn't get off. Instead, goes to the back of the bus and waves at us.
Oh my God.
Oh. There wasn't enough time at each stop for me to get out of my coworker's car and run up to the bus and get her. Oh, I tried several times. Off goes the bus, me running back to the car, jumping in, and the chase resumes. All the while, her grinning face waving at us.
Oh my God. So pull to the front of the bus and like block it. Like you're not getting out. You know, I think this is a good enough reason. I'm sure the bus driver would be like, what the fuck are you doing? But if you let him know, like, look, there's a handicapped person on the bus that needed to get off 8 stops ago and has not.
Yeah. It took us 45 minutes to get her ass off that bus. Oh. Thank you, Mama D.
That's it?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I wanted more story.
Maybe we can get Mama D to come on and share more stories.
Yes.
She's very
that would
sweet.
be awesome.
She's sweet. I love her. Thank you again for that story.
All right. So my final story it will always be my favorite story because I come out looking like a complete badass. And I don't get many of those opportunities in my life to be like, I was right.
Mm-hmm.
And I rubbed people's faces in it probably too long. But in the end, I like to believe that the overall goal of why I was doing it was to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
But it still makes me not look like the nicest person. But I shared this story on this other podcast I was on, but we were talking about labels and why labels are bad and why I don't 100% agree with that. I think you have to have labels because that's how I build.
Mm-hmm.
So, labels had a purpose, at least in my world. Plus, you needed somewhere to start with these kids.
Yeah.
Were they, was it depression? Was it manic depression? Was it, was it bipolar? Were they schizophrenic? Like, what do we need to start with? So while labels suck, there is a purpose to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you can't make that is the person because there's a whole hell of a lot more to a person than just
a label.
That label,
Yeah.
So when I shared the story, I was on one that, I could not be so freely when I communicate.
Yeah.
So I cried. I'm not going to cry this time because I can actually tell the story in all of its glory because I like this story. So I got 2 new clients and they were sisters. And, when you get a new client, you get the paperwork and you read the file. And because of what I did, I needed the full story.
Mm-hmm.
The psychiatrist and the psychologist needed the full story. Everyone else got the version that they needed. And some of that was court ordered. Some of it was at the discretion of somebody else, but it was not up to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be clear about that because I can't just tell you because you ask. And you might think you need to know the full story, but that's not necessarily what the powers that be had decided. So if you want to argue, you can't argue with me about it.
Yeah.
So I get these 2 sisters and I'm reading the file and they had experienced what they shouldn't have growing up. And the fact that they were still doing it, still moving through life, 100% to both of them. One, the younger sister, didn't make good choices.
Mm-hmm.
And she continued to not make good choices. But the older sister, who when I got her was going into her junior year of high school, was honestly killing it. So, you're reading this file and you're like, there's a time where you're like, why the hell is she in special treatment foster care?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's medication involved. I could see they probably used the fact that she needed medication to keep her in this program so she could be with her sister.
Yeah.
And I respect that 100% because, once again, you're moving these kids. So this is one of those times when I get a phone call and they're like, we're pulling both of them, thank God, from one home, one school system.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to find a home for them. And I had this great home. The problem was I hated the school system, but I loved the parents. And I'm like, these 2 would fit so well in there. No one's going to pay for private school. this is where they're going to go and this is going to suck. But at least I know that it's a good fit. So I pick up these two girls, and they're both very, very angry. Not only are we dealing with two teenage girls, but I have said, yeah, you know, you had friends, you had a life.
Yeah.
Guess what? My name is Miss Mama D. Get in my car. And we're going to go, and you're going to get to start all over again as a teenager in high school.
Yeah.
You know,
so hard.
And this is going to, you know, this is going to be fun. Neither one of them were pleased with anything, and I don't blame them. So this was kind of midsummer. So thank goodness it wasn't like halfway through the year where we're like, hey, new students, you know?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I did was before school started would go to the schools for IEP meetings, which are individual educational plan. It's the easiest way to say it. Every child I worked with, all of my clients had them. I would like to think that probably every child in a foster care system had one, but I don't know. Mine all did. Some of them truthfully did not need one, and I probably could have fought to have it removed. But my theory or my logic was that these kids are not going to stay in these homes for long. I mean, it's just the facts. So at least this is a file that is going to go with them from school system to school system.
Yeah.
So somebody is going to see the classes they took. Nothing's going to get lost because IEP is it's monitored. I mean, this is not, you have to have these meetings. This can't be like, oops, we forgot some stuff or we lost some stuff.
Yeah.
So the older one, going to be junior, truthfully probably didn't need one. She had made some poor choices. So I'm not saying she didn't, but I don't know. She always taking regular classes, which again, not something I was used to dealing with. And it was like this really small file. So it's IEP meeting time and I show up and the caseworker came, which is awesome because they didn't usually come. And the GAL came, which again, that's like a unicorn. You don't see them very often.
What is that?
GAL is a guardian ad litem. Yeah, it's a lawyer. Yeah, they do pro bono work usually. And it is just a legal representation for the child.
The child. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how much because I went to quite a few court cases for not good things, and they sure as hell weren't there.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm sure it's luck of a draw.
Yeah.
Who these kids got, who their assigned person was. So this woman, and I actually knew the caseworker, and I knew this GAL. So I'm like, this is awesome. You know, we're all together. So we go in and we sit down in the school system. You know, we've got a principal and a superintendent and certain teachers and so. And they were, I guess, they're nosy Nellies. Best way to describe it. They didn't like what they had been told about this because we were doing one girl and then we would do the other girl another time. Yeah. So they're like, you know, to me, because they knew me, forgot that I didn't like them, but they knew me, you know, and they're like, well, what can you tell us about her? And I'm like, well, you know, you got the file. Well, this, you know, why is she on this medication? I'm like, you know, I can't tell you. And they're getting more angry because I know they're like, you know, I think their anger was not necessarily because I wouldn't tell them. It was like, you guys are lying to me. There's got to be more to this. You didn't give us everything. Yeah. I'm like, I didn't write this file. Like, seriously, I met these girls like 2 weeks ago. I didn't write this. So my line was always, if you have a question, you can call my supervisor. You know this. Yeah. So they're like, done with me. So they turn to the county person and they're like, you know, what can you tell us? And she followed suit. You know, you have been told what we're allowed to tell you. If you have more questions, you are welcome to call our supervisors. And then they're like, they, you know, spot the attorney in sheep. Of course, she's like, legally, I can't tell you anything. Yeah. It sucks. I get you want a whole story, but to be honest, it's not our story to tell. Yeah. You need to hear this. And yes, if they had done something horrible at a previous school that could put you or your staff or students at risk, it would be in there. But if it's not in there, it's because somebody, not me, deemed you didn't need to know it. Yeah. And they're like, well, she's not in any special classes. And they're like, she can't just come in and take these classes, which were just regular classes. These were like high level classes. And I'm like,
Why
that's
not?
what she was
Yeah.
like,
Why
that's what she was
not?
taking at the other school. I said, and she was like getting all A's. What? She can't. And so the argument
Wow.
ensues.
Ugh.
They could not. So now again, I'm in my early 20s.
Mhm.
We all start standing up at a table and we are literally screaming at each other. On my side, I have a county person and I have a lawyer who are screaming at them with me. And there's things thrown. Like literally, they got so mad, they're stuff out of the way.
Oh my God.
This caseworker is like the fingers going, and I am sure said some things that were not appropriate. I'm like, fuck this. And, fuck, I have not liked this fucking school from the beginning, because this is not the first time we have had a problem with something just because I'm bringing in a kid, this foster care, and you think special treatment foster care. It's got to be mental illness. There's got to be a whole lot of baggage. There probably is. I'm not going to lie to you.
Right.
What's the kid going to do? I could not freaking tell you what this kid's going to do. If they're taking their medication, we're doing our best here, but it's just one of those things.
But also, you want me to tell you what this kid might do while you're throwing shit off the desk, you fucking idiot.
Oh, it was like,
should we put you in a special kid class?
Yeah. Oh, it was crazy. So then the superintendent looked at me, because again, that's, finger at my face and said, you are setting her up to fail.
No, you are.
Exactly.
Who are you? We know she's going to fail. We're going to put her in these classes and she's going to fail, and it's going to be on you. You're not a good caseworker. You're not a good social worker. You're not a good advocate. You are failing this child. And, so now I'm mad.
Yeah.
And so they slam this piece of paper down, sign it, and we'll put her in the classes we think she should go into. And I'm like, fuck no, I'm not signing shit. I said, you got a choice. You do it my way, or we're going to take her and leave, which, what kind of, it's a threat only because they get paid more.
Yeah. If
we put these kids in there. Yeah. Plus, I can start throwing some pretty big fits. And you've made me mad enough that I'm not saying I wouldn't go a little bit higher up the ladder to say you are discriminating against a child.
Yes.
So fine, they're like, fine, we'll put her in whatever damn classes you want her to go into. She's going to fail. It's going to be on you. I'm like, fine. So a lot more yelling. We leave, and they're telling us to get off the property. We're not allowed back on the property.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, we're walking out the door like this, I'm just like
fingers blazing,
like doing what's the Friends thing.
Yeah.
So I get in the car and I stop and I call my supervisor, my poor supervisor. She's like, she was an angel. She's probably like, oh God, who's at what meeting now?
Yeah.
And so she answers it. She's like, well, they've already called and you are not allowed back on the property. I said, yeah, they're pretty clear about that. And they said that you're not allowed to attend any more meetings. And I said, well, you pooling my cases from me? Because that is an option. You could pool any of my local cases from me. And she said, no, what I'm working out is that you can attend meetings over the phone.
So they can
not really sure how that's, exactly. I'm like, I'm not sure how that's going to help anybody, but I'm like, fine, I'll do whatever. I said, I don't want to lose these kids.
Yeah.
And here, they had been put in this foster home, this new one, for 2 weeks, and they were actually really comfortable there, like I knew they'd be. So if you take them, if I pull them to a new school system, they're leaving a foster home.
Yeah.
Just so I can keep them as clients. And that's not fair. I cared about them.
Yeah.
But that's not my job.
Yeah.
My job is to put them where they need to be. And if someone else had to take over the case, so be it.
It's not your job to put them somewhere where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
It's to put them somewhere where they're comfortable.
Right. Yeah. So if I lose them as clients, I lose them as clients. Trust me, I can get, there's more for me, but it would suck because I really was, at this point now I'm invested.
Yeah.
So school year starts, and thankfully she was blessed with some teachers who I am sure heard everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But, did not hold that against her. They didn't hold a label over her head. They gave her a chance.
Yeah.
She made friends. She got done with her junior year straight A's.
Aww.
She killed every one of those damn classes. We were supposed to have a 6-month revisit that oddly they decided that they didn't need to have, So,
What?
Huh.
But
I know,
why?
but you don't want to see me. And in this meantime, I have actually been given, I had been served some papers that I was not allowed on the property.
Oh my God.
Jesus, shit.
So yes, I'm like,
You
cool.
were officially
So-
trespassed.
Oh yeah, we were like, but the best part, they were all in my maiden name. So now, but at the time I'm like, shit, that's not what we want. Because I had other clients there. So now I'm like, all my phone things had to be, every meeting had to be over the phone. I'm like, you're just making life harder.
Yeah.
Because
But
you were
whatever.
stupid. Because they
Because
were
your
stupid.
ego was so inflated.
Oh, they knew,
Yeah.
So IEP meeting for her senior year. And oddly, I started talking and was disconnected. So they could say I was there, but they still needed me to sign things. So I get, at the time, a fax.
Yeah.
All the classes and I called her. I'm like, are these the classes that you want to take? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, then I will sign this and I'll get your caseworker to sign it and I'll get everybody to sign it as long as this is what you want to take. And nobody tried to pull, some shit going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She graduated, top of her class,
Oh, good
gave
for
the
her.
commencement speech that I was invited to,
But couldn't
I was
go
not
to.
allowed to attend. But because I could not let it go, she sent me an invitation. I said, would you send me a second one? And she did. And I wrote on it, who failed who, where's,
Yeah.
and put her name on it and sent it to the school. Probably did not need to do that.
Whatever.
But,
You absolutely did need to.
Yeah.
okay. Well, so then she goes to college. And she does extremely well, top of her class. She
Aw.
went to medical school.
Wow.
She graduated
Wow.
and she is a neuro something with pediatrics.
Wow.
Every time she sent me a letter, she sent me 2.
Aww.
And I made sure one of them went to
the
that school.
Hell yeah.
And made sure I said who failed who.
That is
Hell
awesome.
yeah. You bitter bitch.
And-
You. I love you.
Not bitter. That's not bitter. That's
Oh,
like
But that's what I mean. Like in my mind, I can sit here and argue with you guys and say, see, I was proving a point,
yeah.
which is that labels are bullshit or they are maybe necessary at some point, but you need to give that person a chance. You need to get to know that person.
Yeah.
You don't need to know their backstory necessarily, but you need to see where they're coming now. I could tell you why I sent those letters, but I sent them because I am a bitch and I was really, really pissed off.
As you
and I
should
wanted
be.
them to know.
Yeah.
So, but the funny one is, so I get my youngest and my oldest both play soccer,
Mm-hmm.
high school.
Soccer.
And they they play
Soccer.
soccer, high school soccer against this school system. And the first time I got a call from one of my old people I used to work with, my coworkers, and she's like, do they know who you are? I said, no, because the dumbasses use my maiden name.
Yeah.
And they never got it fixed into my married name because they got a lifelong ban. Apparently, probably it wouldn't have gone that far except for I kept doing it. So
Yeah.
I am literally not supposed to go to this school, but it's my maiden name.
Yeah. I feel like you should still just send them a letter once a year with just a picture of your middle finger. Just saying hi, motherfucker.
In
Where am I, bitches?
in your fingernail have the picture of the girl who's now like a neuro fucking surgeon.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor.
Pediatric something.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, so you asked me where some of my kids are. She did it. And I take I'll say I fought for her
Yeah.
to get her, but I didn't do any of that.
No, that was
totally
her.
her. She killed it. And she used the fact she knew what people thought of her.
Yeah.
She knew what labels they put on her. And she said, I don't give a shit. And she
Yep.
used it, and so say, I say that in my podcast, how one of my motivations, it's not like a healthy one, is that if you tell me I can't do something, I will prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Because I like to then look at you and be like, who said I couldn't do it? It's like, it's so not the best one to use, but I do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm like, maybe that's why we bonded so well. She used it as a little bit of hate fuel and just it propelled her and she killed it. Sister, not so much.
Could you imagine if they would have won and put her in the special classes that she was not challenged in? She had, there would be
not have qualified and got into a college because of it.
There would be no motivation for her to push forward and keep going.
Right. She would, honestly, she would have, in my opinion, would have just said, you think that I'm this.
So that's what I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And, and if she had not done well, it would have sucked for me. But, I probably would have been like, those other 4 clients I have in the school system, we're just going to pawn them off on other people. And we're just going to get new. We're never going to go back there again. I mean, I was willing to, I was not wrong. And I knew it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I wasn't wrong. It was that you got to give her a chance. If I'm wrong, if she goes in there and spirals out of control and, sets the science department on fire, my bad.
Right.
I screwed up. But give her the chance because maybe you're wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe she can do it. And if she can't, okay. It's not okay. It sucks, but okay.
But it sounded like the evidence, yes, she was in the foster care system and she was on a medication, but her grades showed that she was a good student. So what? It was just their bias that was just we're not going to give this girl a chance.
That's all it was.
Their
that was
bias
all.
Fucking
and
sucks.
Their past experience
in their small defense, it's not like I had brought them clients in the past. That were awesome. Like I had one, oh my God, schizophrenic.
Aww.
Would not speak for many, many reasons. And he was the only child in this one home. And I got another kid and I needed to put him somewhere. And I'm like, oh God, I got to put him in this home. This is so not going to go well. So I'm sitting them both down and I'm like, okay, you keep your mouth shut. I'm like, you be you, but do not give this kid a side eye. And I'm like, you do not kill him. Do not kill him in his sleep. Do not kill him outside. Do not kill him no matter if the voices tell you to kill him, you call me first or you draw. He's the one that I would draw with because everything was very pretty, but all of a sudden we'd have like some demons in it. And I'd be like, med check. We need a med check. Yeah. And that's how, because he wouldn't talk. And I think because he had been told to shut up and he was stupid and he was evil so much. He's like, okay, I won't talk. Yeah. And he had these awesome foster parents that are like, you don't have to talk. But I put him in this school system. And for some reason, so there was a fight and the new one who was mouthy was in a fight getting beat up. And the one who had been there came running in like just a crazy batshit ball. He just a football player, whatever, and whomped everyone. And the only word he says was, nobody touches my foster brother. And he walked away. So I'm like, these are victories. But I also get where the school's like, you put kids in our building who are doing this or where, because they said, well, where's so-and-so? I'm like, well, he's in prison.
Yeah.
Where's so-and-so? I'm like, that would be an inpatient. I mean, I get it, but that's not her. This is her. And this is who we're talking about. We're not talking about the rest of them. And she could have the same label. I could bring her in and be like, she's schizophrenic. But that just means she needs to be on these medicines and we need to monitor for this and we need to make sure we're doing these things and we need to support her in these ways, which is different than this kid who has,
violent disorder.
We deal with, but it's a starting point, but that's also not who she is. And she could respond to these medicines totally different, but give her a chance.
Yeah.
And they just, nope. And I think that they were so pissed They thought we were hiding something because here, usually there's this file that's like, this big and they're like, oh, and this was nothing. And I think that they thought that I was lying to them. And I'm like, I didn't know the kid 2 weeks ago. So if someone's lying, it's actually the old school system who were laughing back there going, we got rid of that,
Your problem now.
But I said, we have to kind of go off what, it's like why I said why we have the IEP meetings. I wanted that file because if I hadn't had that file, who knows what classes we would have put her in or what we would have done, because we wouldn't have known. And if she had sat there and been like, I took accelerated advanced biology, we'd all be like, bullshit, you did. I mean, where? Pluto? I mean, where were you? And I hate to say that, but it's like teenagers lie.
Right.
But we had, info. So,
but in your experience, how many of the problem children who, if they were off their meds or whatever the situation, had taken classes where they accelerated? I'm guessing it's probably not very many.
It would be selective classes like art.
Yeah.
Oh, and it would be like art to a level that was just, amazing, their creativity. And that is how, like the one that I would have draw, that's how so much of it came out. And we could also, with some kids who are like bipolar, it's like one type of drawing. And then all of a sudden they're like, I have repainted every mural in the house. And we're like, MedCheck, like, let's talk now.
Yeah.
And so it was but art was one. And then it was a lot of like anything with their hands, auto building, cars. Well, it was like something with their hands, usually alone. So they're not like, this is your project, you do this.
You're not overstimulated.
And they themselves. Yeah, they did it. And so we saw that, but not like advanced accelerated chemistry, physiology to the nth degree. No, I mean, we didn't see.
Yeah.
But those were, just my clients who, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. I know I actually worked with someone who was he was an amazing artist, and he would draw these intricate things. And he told me one day, and he's like, I'm schizophrenic and I don't like my meds. So drawing is the only way to keep the voices at bay. And I was just like, okay. I'm not going to anger you.
Yeah. I get mad because someone will be like, I'm depressed. Like a flippant, no, you're not. I mean, not truly. Maybe you are, but you have not been evaluated correctly, because there's a lot that goes into that. Are you sad? Yes. Could you be depressed? Oh, of course you can. I can't do that stuff. I don't have that ability anymore, and I wasn't good at it when I could do it. So, but don't throw words around or, OCD. That one bothers me.
Yeah.
There's habits. Like I have one of those little rings because I do sit here when I talk, I get nervous, and I know that is a habit. It's, I keep spinning or doing a repeated motion.
Yeah.
We all kind of do that to some degree if you think about it. So don't say I have OCD, because there are people who have OCD. Yeah. That I'm just like, if you've been diagnosed. Yeah. Right. Yeah. If you have it, you don't want to hear somebody laughing, oh, it's just my OCD making. No, it's not. And you're lessening it for somebody who is suffering through it. So I don't like, maybe that's where my issue also goes with labels. I mean, I will say, I get sad, I cry. I would never use the term I'm depressed. Yeah. Because that is a level. But if you told me you were depressed, maybe you are. I mean, I don't know. Go get it checked out, because there's ways to work through it. It doesn't have to be medicine, but go talk to somebody. But don't throw the word around unless you know it. Yeah. Well, I think that is what it is.
Thanks to the internet, I think so many people self-diagnose. They like, they look it up. They're like, oh, well, I have this, and instead of like getting a professional. Well, I also
think like with OCD, I think
it is a term that's thrown around a lot. I am definitely guilty of doing that, because me too. I have quirks that
I think it's
are weird.
in situations. There's certain situations in life that can bring out OCD. Like I know when I first moved here, I told myself that I was OCD because when I would drive down the road, every single sign that I drove past, like on the freeway, not on like surface streets, but on the freeway, like this exit coming up, I would have to tap my feet and spell it out. There's this many letters.
I've never heard this
in
before.
this word. There's this many letters in this word. I would tap my feet. And if I didn't tap my feet by the time the sign passed me, it would bother me. But that's gone now. It's gone now. And I think it was when I first moved here, I was in a different state than I am now. And so
mental state or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like an
actual state.
I was in a different mental state than where I am now. And now it's gone. I pass by them and I don't even think about it. I don't even think about it.
Well, and because the question would be, what did it must have relieved some sort of stress. It was a coping.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a coping mechanism.
It do? Because I would, because it wasn't true OCD, because my argument would be someone who is OCD would literally get off the exit
and do it again,
turn around,
to loop around.
And
if they didn't, they would be, and so that's, debilitating.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, like, I would tell myself I had OCD for this.
Right.
But now that I've worked past it, it wasn't OCD. It was just something that I was dealing with.
I think everyone's brain works in those weird ways.
It was the situation that I was in.
Right.
The state of mind that I was in when I moved here was not a good state of mind. And I was using this to...
it's calming.
Yeah, to like cope.
It's like rocking.
To cope.
Right.
It was like something, something else to... tell myself that this is what it is,
or just
besides
distract
this.
your brain.
Exactly, like a distraction. It was a distraction to tell myself that this is what I'm dealing with instead of this. And then once that was dealt with, it went away.
I still have a weird number thing.
It's a number thing.
I have a number thing. If there's a digital something like a volume or something, it has to be an even number or divisible by 5, or I think something bad's going to happen. My whole life.
The divisible 5 was, that's the one. Wow, that really,
Yeah, I don't know why. My entire life, it's been that way.
And see, again, could it be, like, who am I to tell you it is or isn't?
Yeah.
I mean, is it something that, if you felt that it was affecting your life in a negative way, go talk to somebody.
Right.
I mean, that's all my whole thing is with everything is, don't guess, don't lessen it for other people. If it's bothering you, I mean, for love of God, go take care of yourself, because nobody should suffer.
Yeah.
We got a lot of options out there to help you not suffer.
It's definitely not, it doesn't affect my life in any big sort of way. It's just something that's always there. It's never been diagnosed or even talked about in a therapy session. It's just something that's always been there. And my brother has it. It is. I think it's just a human brain thing.
Oh, I think we all have little things,
that we can't let go of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and some of them are, I think, affect us or pop in our day more often. Because like that one, I could see how that could affect your day more than a Jay's. I mean, when you're driving, that would, where somebody else might be, I have to hold my breath. I mean, because then it becomes almost a superstition.
Yeah.
I have to hold my breath when I pass a, cemetery.
Yeah.
How often, you could have totally missed that. Is it a superstition? Is it like something that if I don't do it, I will actually get hurt? And then you obsess about it where you think, I didn't hold my breath. So who's going to die?
Right.
Someone's going to die, and what do you do? Drive backwards, breathing out. I don't know how you fix it. How do you do the opposite that way? So, I mean, I think a lot of us have, and that makes us unique, the little quirks.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
nothing wrong with that.
It's about how you
deal with it.
Move past them.
Yeah. And I guess the one that you'd see is if you found a way to like move past that one, does a new one pop up?
Right.
Yes.
Because that's the thing is if you're using it to counteract, cope with something else, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like a new one is going to keep popping up. But if you, somehow solve that one and then it just never, you'd be like, this is just move past it.
Yeah.
You know? Thank you guys for putting up with me painting my pictures, my hand movements, and everything on here. I'm like,
It's great.
oh yeah.
We love a good storyteller.
Oh yeah.
Well, the description of running and then the escalator.
Yeah.
It's like,
I can completely picture
yeah.
it. Just frantic. Pause.
yeah.
Like,
Ride the escalator on this Mama D. That's why it's like you expect the music and everything,
Yeah.
then you're waiting for it to go, and then we take off, run it again, and yeah.
and also the people chasing you stop and pause on the escalator. Like, everyone just pauses.
So it would have been better if we passed each other, one going up and one going down. You know?
It's straight out of a sitcom or a movie or
it's
something.
hilarious.
Definitely.
And I just think of like all those people who were watching this as this, you know, like really tall kid is dragging these two, you know, adults, 20 something. And there's this, again, no thought in her head.
Yeah.
So there was no logic. It's not like, they're on, they must be running to get shoes. No, there's no logic in that one.
I mean, she had a plan, obviously.
Oh,
No, she seriously did not. I think she was just like, look, shiny. And we went this way and it was this way. And then all of a sudden we're like, and then she's like, escalator. It all, then we found the car. So yeah.
That's amazing.
But I'll give her full credit. She saved our butts that day. She deserved the value meals that I purchased for her.
I hope she has a good life somewhere.
Yeah.
She's one that, she's one that I do not want to. I don't want to think about.
Yeah. You just want to remember
That's what I want to remember. I want to remember her little face waving at me off the back of a bus. And
we run.
Damn it.
Mama D,
we
run.
Yes, that's what we do. We run. You scared? Yes, I am.
Oh, it's so sweet and sad and just funny and all the emotions.
That's the best part about it is it's so sweet.
Yeah.
It's so sweet yet
so innocent.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so innocent.
Yeah. See, and that's when we do that, and I'm almost done with my wine. I'm going to cry, and we said there'd be no crying on Fuck My Work Life. That's not what we're doing here.
I mean, it could happen. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for coming on. We are so happy
we've kept you too long.
Magic of podcast editing. You guys aren't going to know that we recorded for over 2 hours. But
over 2.5
we're just hanging out with Mama D. But before we sign, it's been fun. Before we sign off, let everyone know where they can find you and your podcast.
Oh, please do. It is please find me. It is Petals of Support, and it is every Tuesday. I am on all the listener platform places, and I'm also on the Twitter and the Instagram. It's at Petals of Support, and I interact quite a bit with K and J. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for me, you can easily find me through them. You can email me at petals. Wait, that's Twitter. We've had wine. Yes. You can email me at petals.s@aol.com. And I love topic suggestions. I love questions. Again, I am not a licensed anything, so I am just going to give you the advice that I would give you if you were sitting in my kitchen with me, and we'll talk about it that way. But thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
best advice
for coming
that people
on.
Can get.
Seriously, like, I'm not kidding. Whenever your episodes come out, I listen to it while I'm getting ready for work in the morning, and it's like a warm hug. It's amazing. Everyone needs to go listen to Petals of Support.
I do my best with the show topic, like titles, but it's sometimes best through the descriptions because it's kind of a choose your adventure podcast. So something might not be relevant to your life. If you listen to it and follow away and use it, tweak it some other time. But if it doesn't, apply to you, go look for another one. There's got to be something in there. There's like over 100 of them. I've talked about everything. So there's got to be something in there. And if there's not, email me and I will create one for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for
very much.
Joining us. We loved your stories.
Thank you. And I hope both of you, one of you, each of you, however you do, you guys will come back on mine, because I would love to have Kay on again and Jay.
Oh yeah, we're gonna
for a first time.
We're gonna have a one-on-one.
Yay! I think Jay was a little scared of the advice aspect the first time, and now he's like, "No, I'm fucking ready."
No.
Everyone be prepared, because we will have a good time. I'll just need a name for it.
Mm-hmm.
We will have.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Sometimes they pop up halfway through, and I'm like,
yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that'll work.
Sometimes it's just like a little sentence that was said, and you're like, "There's the title."
It was. I think I had CK and GK on, and it's called "Don't Bite Your Friends" because they said that, and I'm like, "There we go." They said, "Don't bite your friend's sleepover."
Good advice.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I guess. Bye, fuckers.
Bye, fuckers.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Fuck My Work Life podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please follow, subscribe, rate, review, and tell your friends. Send your workplace stories to fmwlpod@gmail.com or call our rant line at 310-818-3273 for a chance to be featured on a future episode. For more fun, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at FMWLPod. You can also join our Discord community to chat with us and your fellow fuckers. We've got a Patreon where for $5 a month, you get early access to episodes, bonus content, and more. Grab yourself a t-shirt, pint glass, or yoga mat in our merch shop. All links can be found in the show notes. The Fuck My Work Life theme song is by Big Foss of the Chat Smash podcast. Remember, don't let the man get you down. Bye, fuckers.
I don't know about you, but with a busy work schedule, I never have time to sit down and read. Luckily, there's Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up articles about the most trending topics on the web and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time ever, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. You can browse articles from topics you choose and just start playing. Follow specific topics from sports, tech, business, science, or Bitcoin. Newsly will find you the latest articles and read them aloud. They even have digital radio. And do you want to know the best part? They have podcasts. Explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries, and you can find our podcast, Fuck My Work Life, there too. Download and try Newsly for free by visiting www.newsly.me or clicking on the link in our show notes. And be sure to use promo code FWL for a 1-month free premium subscription. Stop scrolling and start listening with Newsly.